Be
Where
arrogant
else you want to go?
Don't nobody do it like us, bro. Oh my goodness. We beat the brakes off y'all.
Whoop that trick. You gotta love it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the season finale of A to Z Sports Game Day Live.
We made
Jesse Holley, Skywalker Still.
What up, my brother?
We made it.
We made it.
We did 17 of these things.
17.
17 of these things this
Well,
year.
you did 17.
Well,
I did
yeah.
16. I was on the IR.
He was on IR.
I was on the IR. So I had to, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't on the IR. I missed the game.
You was on the C19 list. It was just a different C19.
Yeah. I was on a different list. I was on that list. I was on that.
What they call it in basketball or in baseball? The DL list?
I was on a DL.
The activated list.
Yeah,
right?
I was on a DL. I was on a DMP. I was on a personal DMP.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. It's all good, but you're here today, man,
Yes.
for the final, the season finale is what I'm gonna call it, of Game Day Live, and I don't even have words, man.
Preseason game number 5.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, is what this is. But before we get into what tonight's game is going to be, man, I just want to say thank you for everything this year, man, and the friendship that we've developed over this year, brother.
Make me cry on that.
Listen,
man.
I gotta make you a little sentiment, get you a little emotional.
I'm an emotional dude, bro.
Get you a little emotional, man.
Yeah.
It's like we've had a relationship prior to this a little bit, come on the show and things like that. But when I moved down here and we did this thing, a friendship developed, and it's been awesome.
I would say brotherhood.
Yes, a brotherhood.
I would say brotherhood.
A brotherhood, man.
Absolutely.
And I think we'll carry on forever. So. Man, just
thank you, brother.
Awesome, man.
Thank
You've
you,
been
man.
awesome. You've
Thank
been
you,
great.
Man. And I got to tell everybody that comes into contact with me about you, one of the most talented individuals I've ever met in this business. And trust me, you guys see the finished product, right? You get it whether you jump on his YouTube or you're on with us here or Facebook or wherever you join us or what he does during the week, what Will does during the week. But when I tell you, I am thankful and glad that I have NFL experience. I can't do what he does. I would be out of a job if I had to do what he does. And I'm talking about from lighting to camera work to the setup to everything. This dude is amazing. And if there's anyone who's listening at networks, the big people and all that kind of stuff, this dude, I'm telling you, if you want to see something spectacular, 2 things about him. If you want to see something spectacular, come watch him watch a game.
Well, there's that.
That's that. Come watch him set up before the game, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Is that today?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not gonna say what I want to say on air, but he's slick. He's slick.
I try to just let it come and go.
No, I ain't no come and go. First of all, I need everybody, all the fans here, to happy birthday to my guy Jesse Holley today. He slicked that on me. I did not know that today. He didn't want to have this all kumbaya thing. But so what?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, brother. You deserve everyone to give you some love today, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I never make a big deal
This is crazy.
about it, man. I just let it go. I'm not the person that's like, look at me, it's my
I'm the
day.
same way,
I'm
bro.
celebrating the whole bunch.
way.
Capricorn season. I'm not that guy. I let it come in. I let it go out. But I appreciate. Thank you, brother. I appreciate everybody else who said it. It's all no. You don't have to be mad. That's just how I am.
Listen, we had a whole show before the show, y'all.
We start sweating.
We breaking down film. Like, this is real rap. I learned so much, and this is why I like to bring it to him, because he played the game, obviously, right? He's been in those rooms. He's been in the film. He's broken it down with Tony Romo's and the Tom Brady's and things like that. So I want to hear from him on what I'm seeing and try to confirm or learn some things. And I've learned a ton, man. And there's times where he said, I think it was Nick, man, you got a show before the show. Yeah. And we're like, only half of y'all will probably enjoy it, though. But it really was a show before the show, man, and a lot to learn. And today, I think it might be the opposite. I don't think we're going to learn a whole lot in this game tonight, Jesse.
No, tonight's going to be a game that the NFL is kicking themselves in the butt right now.
It's their fault. The NFL never moved this game.
Kicking themselves in the butt because they anticipated maybe the Cowboys winning that game last week and then coming into this week and now number 2 seed being in the hold of if the Cowboys win, they keep the number 2 seed.
They win
lose,
the 2.
And it didn't work out in their favor, and they still had time not to flex it. I don't know why they flexed this game, but here we are. As you can tell, we'll get into the inactives. Quick around the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Denver Broncos 28-24.
Entertaining game.
It was an entertaining game. It had some good plays. But just looking at what we had this week, we knew from the COVID that we didn't have Micah Parsons, that we wasn't going to have who was Tyron Smith.
Anthony Brown.
I mean,
just a
and,
ton.
and then Jaron Curse wasn't going to play at all, but then he found out that he was on the COVID list. And that was just us. And there was no Tony Pollard for injury and all the other guys. The Eagles had 11 dudes on the COVID list. Only Kelsey came off their COVID list. They had 12.
Just to get the streak, by the way. You know he's only coming off that just to keep his streak going.
So 11 on the COVID, and then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10 inactives.
10. So they got 21 players. And probably 95% of these players that are inactive are starters.
Jalen Hurts, inactive. Darius Slay.
Starter.
Steve Nelson. Miles Sanders.
Starter.
Lane Johnson.
Starter.
Landon Dickinson. Josh Sweat. Derek Barnett, if they're not starters, are part of that rotation. And then Javon Hargrave. This is being treated like a preseason game from Philly.
Yep.
And that was one of the things I was worried about coming into this game because Dallas they started off on Monday, Jesse. We're going to go out here and try to win the game and everything like that. And I hear you, right? The Cowboys still have to try to win this game. But then Micah, which we won't get into all the stuff about going to the game and stuff like that. We only got an hour. But Micah goes on COVID. Then we see Tyron Smith, Anthony Brown. We see our receivers go to the game after they saw Micah get COVID, and that whole thing.
We saw our receivers go to 2 games. They went to the Alabama game, then they went to the
Alabama game. That's another thing. So you're starting to see all these players kind of get clipped off the list. Then Trayvon Diggs gets sick. Donovan Wilson, who it looks like he's going to play, he gets sick, and it's like, all right, on Monday you said you wanted to play this game like a regular game, but realistically, I don't know how you go into this game and say we're going to go 4 quarters full-fledged ahead. I don't see it happening.
And it just hit me. This is the perfect scenario for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe a preseason game for them is a good thing. It literally just hit me, an epiphany.
So explain.
When I say that is this team, we saw the performance they put on last week. What you get today is a defense. I don't have to worry about Hargrave. I don't have to worry about Cox. I don't have to worry about all these guys.
You want to see the ball go in the hoops.
I want to see a layup.
Okay.
I want to see a free throw.
Gotcha.
I want to see this team be able to get in some sort of rhythm today. And maybe that's just for a half. But you're able to extinguish or wash that bad taste out of your mouth from your game against Arizona. This team needs to see the ball go in the basket. I need them to feel some sort of confidence heading into next week. Because if they don't, if it was a game where they actually lost, talking about 2 losses in a row, every time that you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And I think now I look at this and I go, you know what? While it may be boring to us as spectators and having to put a show together, and this is the perfect storm for the Cowboys. Find your rhythm, right? See the ball go in the basket. See yourself be able to call some plays, make some completions. Work a live practice. Work on your reads. Work on taking those shots. Work on throwing those passes. Kellen Moore, work on getting yourself more comfortable with building conceptual plays throughout the game. We were breaking down film before a game, and we were saying how one play could have worked 3 times in a row.
And then you could counter it off.
And then countered off that, and then countered off the counter.
Yeah.
So this is that type of game where the Cowboys can come out and truly find themselves getting in some sort of positive rhythm heading into next week where guys will come back off the COVID list. We pray, whatever God that you pray to, pray that, and this has been my biggest fear all year long. I don't mean to put it into the earth, to the universe, but
plans getting close.
keep that y'all on the offensive line. Don't let it trickle down to the guy who stands behind the center. Like, you're getting pretty close to that point.
He's been saying it all year, y'all. Like
I really have.
And every time he says it, it gets closer. Closer.
So being able to have him come in, and I say him, Dak Prescott, Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy, being able to have these guys come in and potentially put together a rhythm of series of plays, a couple series, a half, whatever it is, to get that momentum going so that you feel good about yourself heading to the playoffs?
I think, Jesse, there is a deliberate effort for that to happen. If you listen to Amari Cooper, he came out this week again and spoke up, and we are in agreement here. He should not have to do that. But when he did speak up, he kind of dropped a nugget in there. He said, we did put in some things for me this week. Let's see if I get the opportunity. So apparently his voice is being heard behind scenes, and they're going to try to come out here and do that, which rightfully so because you got to find that rhythm, because next week you're likely going to see that Arizona Cardinals team again, or maybe you'll see a San Fran defense, which is not a bad defense,
right.
or you'll see the Rams. Whoever you're going to see is going to be a formidable opponent.
Absolutely.
So you want to go into that game with some confidence that you can do some good things. I thought the Washington game was let me see it go in the hoop game. And it was, right? Mm-hmm. We saw them do some great things, but then they didn't follow it up against the Arizona Cardinals. And this isn't about the Arizona Cardinals, but that was kind of your last litmus test, right?
Yes.
Before the regular season. So if today is going to be treated like a preseason game, then I need them to come out there in those first, quarter, 2 quarters, whatever they play, and go 110% to get back in that rhythm, because I need you to go into the playoffs feeling good, man.
And I think for the Arizona game, what was so disappointing to that is we heard players, coaches publicly come out and talk about this was a statement game. This was a game where we wanted to go out there and show who we really are. We want to go out there and say that we can beat top caliber opponents, guys who have plus 500 winning records, right, and all that kind of stuff. And they wet the bed. Like they literally wet the bed after coming out publicly and saying that this was a game that you had to make a statement in it. And to your point, the Washington game was, I want to see the ball go in the basket. Then you came back and didn't show that you got the rhythm. I'm hoping that there's a switch, and there's nothing that's in the past that's going to say that it's going to be able to turn that playoff switch on. But I'm hoping that's what comes about.
Isn't that what a lot of people believe, or at least hope? That's the hope, right? And that's what I'm kind of leaning on now, that maybe Kellen is saving things, and then I hear I know.
Don't do that to me early in the show,
but that's all I can do now, bro. But seriously, Kevin Gray and was it Chris Arnold? Chris Arnold came out and said, I've got sources that say that the Cowboys are holding things back for Tony Pollard. They're waiting to the playoffs to unleash these packages or plays for Tony Pollard. I don't know how serious that is or whatever, and you know how we both feel about that thought process. But that's the switch, though, essentially, what you're talking about. If there's a switch, then it better work. That's all I can say at this point, man, because you've clearly kept the switch off for most of the second half of the season.
My thing is this, okay. You took me.
I know. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. I know.
So you're telling me the number 2 position is on the line.
I agree.
And you have the opportunity to play a lesser opponent the first round of the playoffs and make your way easier, and you deliberately kept these packages away for that reason, to go to the 4th place?
I don't know, man. Maybe
that's why I can never buy this thing.
Either it's crazy or arrogant as hell to think that you can hold back and still
But
win.
even in that moment, I'm saying, this don't look right. This ain't going right. Maybe I should pull some of those packages out.
Yeah.
And deploy them here. In fact, the Cowboys only rushed their running backs or Tony Pollard or anything like that, I think 9 times. They had less than 10 carries.
It was 12 total rushes.
And Dak had 4. So that's 8 rushes between your 2 starting runners.
Tony Pollard carried the ball 3 times.
This is okay. Anyway,
I know. I didn't mean to pull you off of that one.
Okay.
It's just. When you talk about the switch, that made me think of that.
And also coming into this game, Amari Cooper, and I love listening to Amari Cooper speak, because Amari is a guy who it almost feels like he can't tell a lie. Like, remember the movie Liar, Liar?
Liar, Liar. This pen is Rio blue. We can't tell a lie.
He can't tell a lie. Yeah. And I think Amari Cooper is one of those guys where he can't tell a lie, but he's so eloquent in the way that he speaks, it doesn't come off as
distasteful or disrespectful.
Right. It doesn't come off as a T.O. would say it, or a Dez would say it, where you're like, oh, damn, you really rocked the boat. But he's been able to say it in such a intelligent way that you'd be like, that makes sense. And the thing that he has been saying in these last couple of weeks, that's, to me, is the most concerning part. is we keep hearing this thing about communication.
Yeah,
Communication.
in week 8 to 17.
Communication. And I'm like, and to most people, you think it just means like the verbal part of the communication, and it's not that, right?
This is why I gotta have these conversations behind the scenes.
This is communication. It's what we talk about. Of you ain't see me. Why you come off that read?
You ain't see this.
You ain't see that
number
look up
game?
there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the communication part that he's talking about. It ain't that you and I can verbally communicate. That part, yes, he could talk to Dak, Dak could talk to him. It's the communication within the scheme, within the play. There's not enough communication happening between what I'm seeing, what you seeing, and where the ball is actually going. Mm-hmm. That communication has to be better. That communication has to be on point where it's like we saw a couple throws last week where Amari's sitting and Dak is throwing the ball away, right? Or even with Schultz. That's the communication that's not off. Am I sitting? Is it a zone? Am I sitting? Is it man? Am I moving? What is it? That's the communication part in the route that they're not getting. And it's a little bit concerning that we're still having these issues with starters. This ain't communication with Malik Turner.
And not with bums either. We're talking about really good players. So it's concerning just a bit. And today you want to see that. I know it's a Philly. I know it's probably going to be 2 quarters or whatever. It may be a few series. But you want to just have that momentum and that rhythm moving forward.
Yes.
For the Cowboys, the inactives are cornerback Trayvon Diggs, quarterback Will Greer, running back Tony Pollard is sitting today for precaution reasons to keep him fresh for the playoffs. Simi Fehoko and Quentin Bohanna.
Why is Tony Pollard sitting for precaution and Zeke Elliott is not sitting for precaution?
I don't think you're going to see Zeke. I think you'll see Zeke maybe for a few series because here's what they did. They called up Jaquan Hardy, and I believe one more running back. So they have 4 running backs actually active today, but Zeke is the only one that matters, and I got a feeling you're going to see him maybe 2 series.
I think Zeke, they mismanaged that.
Oh, gosh, yes.
When I look at they gave Tyron extra time. They gave Dak extra time.
Neville Gallimore.
Like a bunch of guys who could have come back quicker. They was like, even Tank, we're going to wait another week.
They stretched it big time. Yeah.
For Zeke, it's like clearly he has a problem. And at no point in time where you could have rested him, should have rested him, he went from not wearing a brace and looking lethargic to wearing a brace and continuing to look less of himself. And I know they say that it couldn't get any worse. It ain't getting any better either.
And that's the thing. Yeah, it's not getting any better. And he's not getting it. I feel like, I know he comes out and says it that, hey, I feel better than I did 2 weeks ago, whatever. To me, it looks like the same type of person we saw in week 10 as we see in week 18. It's just now the hole has to be there for us to see it.
And let me translate that. I feel better 2 weeks now than I did 2 weeks ago. That to me in football terms means I've learned how to manage and deal with the pain. Because what we end up doing is it's a pain threshold. How much pain can we take? And then we get the rest of them. Keep telling you, the NFL got good drugs. So it's how much.
AB was talking about that.
How much pain can I take? And when you're dealing with the injury, after a while, your body adjusts to that level. The body's an amazing thing, right? I'm not some nerd, but I've had the body have to adjust. Like to think about a cut on your arm, and if you just give it time, the skin will eventually come back together and seal the cut by itself. So the body begins to just say, you know what? It really hurt the first time, but now we've dealt with this for so long, it becomes a natural part of your everyday being. So not that it got better, you just learned your pain management has increased and your body has learned to play with that pain as the new normal of how to do things.
Do you think, because you're right, Zeke probably should be inactive if we're really thinking about it, but there is something called incentives. And he's like, 50 yards away or something?
85.
85 yards away from 1,000 yards. Do you think that has something to do with it today?
100%.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure I ain't crazy.
No. Right. And that's another funny conversation that happens in the locker room that people don't kind of get a chance to really know about. Make no mistake about it, people. Every single player, whether it's your star or whether it's the guy at the low level looking for his incentives, they all know what they all know what the mark is. Some guys know I'm so far away from it, I ain't getting it in one game, so whatever. But every single player knows I'm 85 yards away from 1,000, and that may click off something in my contract.
100% will.
I'm 5 catches away. I'm 90 yards receiving yards away. I'm a touchdown away. I'm an interception away. I'm a sack away. Whatever it is. They all know, and this is that game they're looking to say, "Hey, coach, I can't wait to see the sounds of the sidelines and see if they can't hear people saying like, Coach, I need to go back in. Let me go back and let me get one more spin. Let Booby spin one more time," because they're all trying to reach those end of the year contract accelerators.
Here's a stat for you though. He needs what, 85? You said
85, 86 yards.
The no Cowboys running back has rushed for more than 75 yards since week 5.
I think we can even go lower than that.
That's concerning.
I think we can even go 65 yards.
It might be,
the last 100 yard from a back was week 5.
100 yards was the Giants game in week 5. So no one since week 5 has rushed for 65, 75 yards. Not one of the two.
Right.
So that's a problem in a multitude of ways. How you're running, when you're running, the running back itself, the call, whatever. It's all a problem that they need to fix going into this game. On the other side of the ball, as we had at the top here, I do think this is an opportunity for the backups in this game. Now, the offense is not as compromised in regards to COVID and injuries as the defense. The defense is,
No, I'm saying I'm playing.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. I'm like, what you know? I don't know.
Jesse, shut up.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, no Trayvon Diggs, no Jaron Kearse, no Anthony Brown, no Michael Park. A lot of players are out on the defense side of the ball, which means the boss man Fats, the Israel Mukwamu's likely, the Nashawn Wrights will all get an opportunity tonight. So, honestly, and even Tyler Coyle, a safety from the practice squad, you talked about, how this is a preseason game and how it may not be as exciting to us, but for me, I am kind of excited to see some of these young bulls, I'm sorry, that's my East Coast slang. Some of these
young players.
Keep it professional, bro. The East Coast came out of me, you feel me? The young players to get some tick today, and one of those guys is right there, number 24, Kelvin Joseph. I think he needs to get this because he may be called upon in the postseason, Jesse. They pulled Jay Lou last week.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think with a good performance today, and I don't know that's going to be against Rager, and believe it or not,
Minshew Mania.
I think just from a pure quarterback stance and perspective, I like Gardner Minshew better.
He can throw the ball better than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. So thinking that you're losing, you're losing the mobile ability of Jalen Hurts, but Gardner Minshew is a guy who started and won a lot of games.
This works in your favor for the young bulls.
Yes.
Young players.
Yes. This quarterback is going to challenge you. Like this ain't going to be like you getting some just
If Hurts is your quarterback, they're likely running the ball 36 times.
Right. Gardner Minshew can take a 7-step drop, pump fake you, give you a no look, and actually deliver the football. So my question to you is, with a good performance from Kelvin Joseph, who spent a lot of this season on kind of
just a reserve
role, special teams role, with a good performance today, and we can say whatever that equals out to is a good performance. Does he leapfrog Anthony Brown and is now your starting corner heading into the playoffs?
To me, it sounds like they believe in the momentum. If you listen to Dan Quinn, he loves what he's seeing from Kelvin Joseph. He loves that he stepped in this year and said, okay, I'm not going to get the opportunity to be the CB2 this year, but I'm going to try my hardest and to stand out as a special teamer. And I think that resonated to Dan Quinn and Joan Bones Fossil that, okay, this man wants it. He's competitive. He really wants to go out there and show you that I can be that guy. But much like Terrell Davis, he couldn't come in and be the starter. He had to do it on special teams first.
Right.
And that's what KJ is doing, a.k.a. Boss Man Fat. If he does come out and have a good performance, I don't think it's going to be an indictment on AB. I think it'll be Jay Lou. I think Jordan Lewis will get the yank, and they'll move AB inside because we saw it last week, right? Like, out of nowhere, Jordan Lewis got benched, and they decided to move Anthony Brown inside, and they put Kelvin Joseph outside. So it's kind of a yes and no. Yes, I think he will leap Anthony Brown only because Anthony Brown will be called upon to be counted on in the slot.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah. So that's how I see it happening. And we want to see a good performance out of Kelvin. Not just Kelvin, what's his name? Nashawn Wright and whoever else, Israel Mukwamu, all these young guys are likely going to get an opportunity today and to get film in meaningful snaps. Nashawn Wright has played 17 snaps defensively this year. 17. All his plays have been good or bad on special teams. You got Moss against the Cardinals last week, the block punt for a touchdown, the drop block punt that got a first down to Denver. So he needs to put some good tape on film as a corner this year, Jesse.
No, I agree with you 100%. And a lot of coming out of practices and stuff like that is that he hasn't been performing very well at that position. Hence why he hasn't gotten opportunities. And there's been few opportunities,
very
because
few
of
they're playing well.
They're playing well.
Yeah.
But, again, guys that you draft and guys that you have future plans for, you try to kind of fit them in the mold and the scheme. And, I think Kelvin dealt with some of that early in the year. And we heard Dan Quinn, all the guys talk about, he ain't quite got it yet. Like, the athleticism
talk
there.
About KJ.
Talking about Kelvin Jones. So it's like some of these guys where the physical may be there and they have the ability, but you can't just – you're not lining up against, Western Kentucky.
Right.
You're not lining up against
Mizzou or whoever.
Whoever. Nah, you're lining up against some real dogs out there. You're lining up against the best of the best. So just because you have the ability, if you don't have the knowledge, when I call something and something changes, you be able to adjust on the go as well, then I can't put you out there. Right? Because having the physical ability but unable to mentally do it, that almost it washes each other out.
You talked about earlier this kind of being a finding a silver lining in this situation, right? Helping the Cowboys out with this preseason type of mentality or game. I think with these backups, this is great for them because with the C-19 happening to you, never know when they're going to be called upon.
Facts.
And now we can get some actual real-life game reps. Granted, I get it. It's not Week 10 where it matters a lot, but it's still – you don't think Philly's going to come out here and try to get Minshew some reps, the real reps, not just vanilla stuff? You don't think that the backup running backs or whomever it is going to come out there and give their 110%? They absolutely are. So I think these reps are going to be crucial because – and I'm not wishing ill will with the C-19 stuff, but it's there. That's the reality. It may happen.
The world we live in.
And we're seeing it. If this happened to be 2020 – we're in 22. 2021 – I have to remember where we at. It's so crazy. It's been 2 years. If this was 2021 of last year, they would have missed a playoff game.
Correct.
So that kind of puts it in perspective like, y'all boys need to be ready. Y'all boys need to be ready. Back to the offensive side of the ball, Jesse. A guy is coming back that we kind of were talking about his return and then the absence of a certain player and how it could affect things, and we can get into that here too. But the return of Jaws, Blake Jarwin. From the outside world, from a fan of the Steelers or something, you might look at Blake Jarwin and say, why y'all worried about Blake Jarwin coming back? He hasn't done a ton, right? Nah, I think he's important to what we do in regards to the 12 personnel set. So according to reports, he's active tonight. He's going to get roughly 20 snaps to get back into a rhythm heading into a playoffs, which I think is extremely important for him. You don't want him to go out there next week and that be his first snaps. But can you kind of talk about the importance of having a Blake Jarwin in the 12 personnel set as opposed to who was not Skittle, I almost said what's
Sprinkle.
One of those damn candies.
Skittle. Young boy and Skittles.
Jeremy Skittle.
Listen, this preseason for us too. We're having a preseason show but Jeremy Sprinkle and what's the other tight end your guy?
I like Sean McKeon.
Sean McKeon. Yeah. And what it does is it gives you, just basically put it bluntly and not to kind of, fluff this thing up, it helps you outrun the ball more effectively.
Yeah.
It gives the Cowboys
it
gives the Cowboys another opportunity. They don't use, so when you don't use a fullback, use another tight end. It gives a guy out there now, when you're talking about running the ball, it gives another big guy out there blocking who can take on the end, who can shed a block, who can chip a block, and all those type of things. But also with remember, Jarwin was the starter for a long period of time until he got hurt.
Started at the beginning of the year.
So now it gives you that dual option of another blocker. We can run the ball now because we can have 7 guys now up there. We have 2 tight ends and 5 offensive linemen. That's going to move some folks.
Yeah.
And now those seams and those gaps come up a little bit more open. it would help also in when you're talking about running to the outside on the edges, all that zone scheme. We call it a lot of times when you have that. When everybody's going one way, elephants on parade, I got all the fat boys going one way, and the running back is holding it, hold opens up, and he hits it. So having him back in the mix now gives you a much better chance to run the football this year. The Cowboys have to get back to that.
Yeah.
They have to get back to running the football. When the Cowboys, I think they have 10 wins this year.
11. You're talking about. Gotcha.
Yeah, they have 10 wins this year where they actually rushed for over 100 yards collectively. And the one game that they did have 100 yards and they didn't win was...
Might have been Minnesota, I think.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
That was absolutely one. So that is still a formula for the Cowboys to get going, but you would like to see them establish it more because later on in the year, teams have been really lining up 3-4 man and saying, y'all can't beat us up front.
No.
I'm not threatened by your running. I'm not afraid of the hobble back there. And Y'all not smart enough. You all are not smart enough to give Tony Pollard the ball enough on the edges throughout the course of the game to really affect us. And it's worked. It's worked.
Oh, Jesse, he's a top 5 to 10 back in regards to rushing on the edge, whether it be off tackle or whether it be on the outside. Depending where you go, he's top 3 in those categories. You're absolutely right. The 5 losses, and I didn't even count week 1 because week 1 is week 1, right? It's you don't know what's going to happen week 1. But if you want to count it, all 5 losses, they've rushed for less than 100. And I like to think that we're more sophisticated than volume stats. So I said, okay, let me break it down more. All 5 losses, they've rushed for less than 4 yards per carry, less than 3.8 yards per carry. The only game they rushed more than that was because Tony Pollard had a 31-yard rush against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Did that trick play the Wildcat, which whatever. Put the ball in his hands, he'll break something off. That's been my thing I talk about this week is Zeke. I understand is Zeke. But if I'm struggling on the ground, I'm going to give it to the guy that can bust one open.
All right.
Well, I mean, go look. Saints game, you're struggling, took one. The Vegas game, you're struggling, he took a kickoff to the crib. The Chiefs game, you're struggling, he took a 31-yard run to help you on the ground. Put the ball in his hands more, in my opinion, to help you get some explosive plays out of that. But if you look at the stats, when they lose, they don't run the ball well.
And I think that's going to be so important heading into the playoffs because – when you go back and you watch the Arizona game, Arizona got the ball with 4 minutes left, and the Cowboys never saw it again.
Never saw it.
Now, people are going to say, what about the fumble? They never saw it again. They were able to close out the true 4-minute offense is what
Literally
you work
the 4-minute
on.
Offense, yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with the running game. They deployed Kyler Murray more in that game. And I keep bringing up Arizona because the likelihood
It's very high.
Is very high that you're going to have to play that same team next week. And so if you aren't able to establish the run and keep Kyler Murray off the field, get the time of possession, wear down some of those pass rushers. By the way, they'll get J.J. Watt back next week.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to do that. And then the best part of it is close the door. Close the door with a solid running game and just be able to X the game out and just say, well, we got it back with 3 minutes left. You'll never see it again. The Cowboys haven't been able to do that effectively, and which is why you see more of these close games outside of the Washington game, or they're losing those games.
Even in the games they've won, it seemed like instead of Kellen trying to get the ground game rolling to close it out, he's like, well, let me try to get Dak in the rhythm. Let me try to get our receivers and the quarterback in the passing game in the rhythm. And I'm talking about on the road against Washington.
He's trying to get BCS points.
Right. We're closing out the game throwing. On the road against the Giants, we're closing out the game throwing when if you're really thinking ahead, right, if you're really thinking long term, I need to figure out how to get this run game back on track because in the playoffs, that's what's going to matter.
Yep.
I'm not saying every game is going to be run the ball 40 times, but if you have to win 4 games, I'm almost positive half of those games you're going to have a good ground attack. And just perfect example, go look at Tampa. People think because it was Tom Brady that Tom Brady just threw the ball for 400 yards every game. That wasn't the case last year.
Lenny got loose.
Wasn't the case. Lenny was eating. They rushed for over 100 and something yards, I think, in every single game except maybe one. So, you do have to have a run game in the postseason. So I'm hoping that, again, I'm asking, right, we did this last week, I'm asking for Kellen to kind of find that deliberate effort to I hate to use the word establish because that seems so olden, but no, seriously, to establish some type of threat on the ground, right? some type of threat, and be efficient with it, right? Like, I don't want you to run it 40 times for 2.9 yards per carry,
right?
But you still need to find a way to get it done on the ground. I happened to catch a super chat here. Y'all know it's tough for us to catch all these things on the fly as we going, but Daisy Clark, shout out to you for the $9.99 donation. They say, run the ball tonight and we win. Well, they got like 25 people. If you can't, right? Am I tripping to think that if Dallas can't come out here and win this game in the first half? I ain't going to say I'm concerned, but, like, disappointed.
There'll be a level of concern. With all the guys that Philly is missing, if we aren't able to come out, especially when our starters are out there, and I don't even look at Tyron Smith not playing as something.
We played enough without him.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, we've played enough without Tyron Smith.
Played enough.
We would love to have him, but he's been out enough, and where we're saying like, oh, okay, Steele, let's go. Let's go.
Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox are not playing. Was it Josh Sweat not playing? Listen, Darius Slay's not playing.
I don't know what more you want.
This is truly going to be your first team offense against preseason guys.
Yep.
Maybe it is going to be. No, I don't want to think about it being concerned, but if you go out here and you 3 and out, and you get no rhythm, I don't want to think about it. But listen, man, they should go out here and be able to handle business because I'm looking at their inactives in their COVID-19 list. You should find a rhythm.
Darius Slay's not playing, right?
No.
Big play Slay.
Steve Nelson.
Big play Slay is what they call him.
Yes.
Now, in their offense, in their defense, he's usually the guy who shadows. If Amari Cooper
is on somebody's fourth-string quarterback.
And I'm not saying like he's going to have these, but dog, come on.
I know.
Come on. Like, the receivers should be able to find a way to get in rhythm.
We said this.
The offense should find a way to get in rhythm.
Before we came on in the pre-roll, essentially, we were like, they should go out here and try to score 21 points immediately.
Right.
Like, right away. And you should be able to do it. I know maybe I'm being unrealistic in the sense of going out here and being perfect to start the game, but if my starters are playing at half, Jesse, I need you to be up big at half so I can pull you and feel comfortable about what we saw. Okay. I'm just making sure, that's we on the same page here, man. Let's close this thing out with some of the things that we're looking for, we're watching for in tonight's game. And we kind of went all around maybe throughout the show about it, but let's kind of just bounce back and forth on some things, be it specifically from a player or from a unit that you're looking for here in this 5th preseason game or whatever it is of the season.
For me, one, it's health. Right, I want to end this game with guys that we truly need. We need everybody, but the guys that we truly need heading into the playoffs. But I want to see up front, while those guys are in, Randy Gregory, D-Law.
Yeah.
What life is like now without Micah Parsons being in there.
Hit you with the.
I want to see how you guys react to what life is like on that defensive front when you don't have the young boy going crazy. Because I do think, and I think Tank may be, quote-unquote, maybe the best
second
player-ish.
Not tonight, maybe.
Right?
Tonight.
But Micah has turned out to be the leading force of this defense.
Yes.
I know that Trayvon gets his interceptions, but ish don't fly.
Micah is consistently the best player on the defense side of the ball.
Ish don't fly unless Micah say so. And now the way that he's been deployed so many different times by Dan Quinn, I want to see now what life is like with those guys and how they're able to can they maintain it by themselves. Because when you line Micah up in the middle of that lineup, or you guys do things with Micah in the middle of that lineup, it hit different than when it's Leighton Vander Esch. It hit different when it's Guilford or whoever else they may have as backups.
Right.
Because Micah actually makes you go, oh, bloop. So I want to see up front defensively, can you guys show up and show out today defensively? And they don't have an offensive line out there today.
They don't, or their quarterback, or they're down their top 3 backs tonight.
Jordan Howard's not playing?
Jordan Howard's out.
Oh, wow.
Boston Scott and Miles Sanders all out.
Yeah, so I want to see those guys up front. Like, get to the quarterback. Go crazy. Go dumb.
For me, it's the other side of the ball, kind of what we were just talking about. I want to see your offense be in that rhythm. And I'm not even going to act like, yeah, you're going to be able to carry this over to the next week. I mean, technically it's still a possibility you may see the Eagles again next week. But I'm just for the sake of them, right? They laid a dud yesterday in regards to being a consistent offense up and down the field and scoring points. Today I want to see this offense be more rhythmic, be more smooth. Yep. I don't want to come out of this game talking about we got to communicate better. We got to see it better. I'm seeing it, or I shouldn't have called this screenplay that almost got picked sixth, or I don't want to hear any of that. Right? So I kind of, for me, it's on the other side, one of the things at least, on the other side is I want to see this offense get into a rhythm for them. It won't be for me because I'm not taking too much away from this game. It's for them, right? Like, you've been in that locker room. Granted, this is against whoever, Joe Blow, whatever. I would imagine as a former player or as a player out there, you want to go into the playoffs feeling good about yourself.
Winning matters.
Yeah.
Like, winning does something to your spirit. It does something to your locker room. It does something to your when you go to prep next week, and even watching film from the past game. When you know you lost, that film get hard to watch. When you know you won, Jokers is jumping in the chairs in the meeting room to get ready to watch film because you're going to see a bunch of good things happen. And that bounce, that energy, it carries out to the practice field, and guys are ready to build on that. It's a feeling when you got to go in and watch a loss where things get picked apart, and now, coach is yelling a little bit more when he wouldn't have. Yeah, man. And you want to kind of end the what ifs and the doubts and the concerns heading in the next week. That should not be a distraction. Your focus should be Arizona and how we can go back and play them technically for the third time this year because you played them in preseason.
Right.
But how can we put ourselves in a position to win a playoff game at home against a team that just beat us?
You know what else I want to see, Jesse? This offensive line respond to last week. This offensive line, and listen, Zach Martin is an amazing player. I think that Collins found his rhythm a little bit. We love what Tyron Smith is, but they struggle against Corey Peters and Lakey Fohotu. And
Corey Peters blew up a play on a third down run where he sliced right in front of Zach Martin and tackled him for a loss.
And he did the same thing against Zach Martin. That's what I'm thinking, Lyle, when you said Zach. But, Zach Martin. So, again, yes, we're mostly talking skill position when I'm thinking rhythm, right? I'm thinking Dak. I'm thinking I'm thinking Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. But I want to see this offensive line be pissed off for how long they're in there. Right. 2 series, 3 series, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, whatever, and respond. My brother in the chat said he wants to see the running game kind of get back together, right? Again, if it's with Jaquan Hardy and Clement, I don't know if it's going to tell you too much.
They've been trying for 8 weeks, y'all.
Yeah.
It ain't come together. So, I don't know. I don't know.
There's so much that comes into it. I think it's how you run, when you run,
where you
run.
audible
one, I think it's more than just the actual individuals. It's a collective thing, which we keep talking about all damn year. But even that kind of even starts up front because they got whooped up front individually. So I want to see them come out pissed. Zach Martin I don't know if there's an offensive line huddle before the game.
Yeah, they huddle.
But come out there and tell them, we had a bad game last week. We on the road against a division rival. It's
cold.
Still
ugly Phillies.
It's
still
ugly Philly. We're not going to throw the ball 50 times a night probably because Dak's not going to play the whole game. So this is our type of game.
Right.
Let's go out here and maul them.
I
kind of want to see that.
I agree.
All right, man. So any final thoughts going into this preseason game? No. Any final thoughts going into Week 18, Jesse, before we get out of here?
Again, I want guys to stay healthy as possible. But don't waste this opportunity. This is an opportunity that you won't be able to get in practice. This is an opportunity that you won't. And again, this is still whether you want to.
You still got to win.
You still got to win this game.
You got to win. Yeah.
You got to win this game. This is still a regular season game. You want to win this football game. You want to find some rhythm. Don't miss this opportunity to go out there and show yourself to be what you are. Don't go out there and be less than. Don't play down to the competition. Go out there and be a dominant Cowboys defense and give yourself at least a moment of relief to say, all right, we got that going. Now let's build off that and head into the playoffs. Yeah,
don't piss off your coach. At the end of the day, these wins count, man. You think he want to end the season 11-6 or 12-5? What do you think he want to end the season like?
12-5.
Exactly. So if you go out there and you lose this game because you want to play lackadaisical or not give 110%, he going to be pissed because this is his record. This goes on his record when he want to come up for another contract or what have you, right? So go out there and give you everything today, no matter if you're the second, third, fourth string, doesn't matter, and get this dub. Because if you get this dub, it puts pressure now on the Cardinals, on the Rams, and on Tampa to win. As unrealistic as it may seem, right? As unrealistic as it may seem for all three of those teams to lose,
We've seen some
it's still a possibility. And this year, crazy things have happened.
Yep.
They have happened. All right, Cowboys Nation, make sure y'all guys come back, and ladies and gals, come back here on the halftime show as we discuss what we see in quarters 1 and 2. And then in the post-game show, Jesse and myself will be back. I don't know how long it's going to be, but we'll be back here regardless to talk about the game. With that said, man, Jesse, Holley, Skywalker Still, this has been the Game Day Live final pregame show of the
Regular
2021.
Season.
I'm sorry, final pregame show of the regular season of the 2021 / I guess we got to say 2022 now.
Yeah, we're here.
With all these games in January.
We're here.
2022 season. So we'll see you guys in hour or two. Come on back, man. Love you. Peace.